Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota, and I am here to bring you a live paper crafting class, but this one is extra special. First of all, I normally do it on Wednesdays, but today I'm doing a bonus one because I got my paper pumpkin kit on Tuesday evening, and I was not able to share any of the alternates on Wednesday when I normally do my lives, but I have things ready for you today and I'm excited. And doing lives is actually a little bit easier than doing a pre-recorded video. So we're doing lives today, yay! It is June 23rd, Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. And again, this is a special one. Let's see here, I'm gonna move to my desktop already, if that's okay with you guys. In this video, I'm going to share step-by-step directions on how to multiply the card supplies in the kit to make even more. I love doing this. This is one of my first things that I typically will do with a kit. The kit that we're going to be focusing on, this paper pumpkin kit, is the June 2023 Welcome In Kit. You can see that on the side of the box. I just want to show you a little peek here. I don't have everything in here, but I wanted to just open this up because I want to remember to address these things that are in the box. But first, let's welcome Trisha Josephs, who is on YouTube as my moderator, and Lisa Marshall, who is on Facebook as my moderator. Yay! I'm so glad that you're here with us, gals, because you are there to help answer questions during the live. Especially on this one, because I'm just going to go. We're going to make 7 cards with the supplies of 3 of the kit cards. So the kit cards, as you can see here, come in like supplies to make this this card, 3 of each. And we're going to take the supplies from one of these, and one of these, and then 3 of the envelopes. And we're going to cut and we're going to paste and we're going to add just a little bit of extra cardstock and some outside envelopes, and we're going to create 7 cards from 3. I do want to point out, for those of you that are new to paper pumpkin kits, this is a Stampin' Up! Product. It's a kit that will come in the mail to you if you become a subscriber. You don't have to worry about committing to a certain number of months. You can try it for 1 month, and if you like it, great, just continue on. If you decide poo-poo, you don't want it, then you can cancel at any time. The kits come with adhesive, and this one has this special kind of adhesive for this month. It comes with an ink spot. It comes with a stamp pad, and I've got all my stamps that are positioned onto blocks except for this one here. So those are ready to go for my cards. It usually comes with embellishments. These are the embellishments that come in this kit. I've already used 1/3 of them. And again, we're working with just 1/3 of the kit. So I'll be using this amount, and then this will be allowed for my last set of cards. Your first kit, if you're new to Paper Pumpkin, will include a clear block. And I'm going to be using my ergonomic blocks that I can purchase through Stampin' Up! Instead of this one, because then I don't have to change them all out. I've got a bunch. These are the supplies that were left over after I divided this kit into my 3 different sections, right? And these were the supplies that were left over after I was done. So you could totally make an 8th card if you wanted to. Let's close that up and let's bring in a stack of 1/3 of the cards. So again, when you look at this, you can see that you can make 3 of this, 3 of this, 3 of this, and then you've got your envelopes. So I've got 1 of each of these, 3 of the envelopes, and we're going to play around with all of that today. Another thing that you'll get in this kit is 2 extra supplies. So if you add those to the things that you have left over, I'm sure you can come up with at least 1 other card, if not a few more. So, oh, and I want to point out something. When you get your kit, you also get this wonderful, informative insert, or pamphlet, I should call it. It comes with directions that are full color, and then on the back side you have an image of the supplies. You have a link to a how-to video if you want to watch Stampin' Up! Create the cards as is, and then there's even some alternate projects. Now, if you're on Facebook, like some of you are, you can join the Paper Pumpkin fan club, and that has been around forever. It's got thousands of people and tons of people that share every day alternate projects. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing alternate projects. I'm not creating the cards as is. We are going to take and change these up. Okay, so that's another plus. So if you get the kits and you don't like the projects as intended, you can take and do other things with them. So let your creativity flow. We're going to bring in a couple extra sheets of Night of Navy cardstock, and we're going to bring in some extra envelopes. In this case, we will need 7. And so if you're going to multiply, if you're going to do this with all 3 sets, you're going to need 6 sheets of Night of Navy and 21 envelopes. Okay? So let's get to cutting and get to creating. I'm so excited. Did I miss anything? I hope not. And yes, thank you for those of you that have been sending me well wishes. I lost my voice for 8 days, you guys. On Wednesday, I did my first live coming back, and today I'm feeling even better. I'm just going to peek at my notes really quick here and see if there's anything that I forgot to say. Oh, in the description of the YouTube video right now, you can find links for the supplies, the extra supplies that I'll be using. You can also find links to more information regarding paper pumpkin kits, starting your subscription through me so I can spoil you, and my blog post link is going to be in there too, so that you can click on it at 4 p.m. Central Time, which is 5 hours from now. That's giving me time because I still need to finish the blog post. So anyways, I'm going to take pictures afterwards, and that blog post will be ready at 4 p.m. Those of you that are watching from Facebook, I will transfer the description that's in the YouTube video over to Facebook, the Facebook Live, and then you'll be able to get all that information as well. So we're going to cut our cardstock in half. This is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of Night of Navy, and we're going to cut it in half this way. That will give us 2 card bases that fold this way. So now let's put our creases in. We can take and score halfway at 5.5, because half of 11 is 5.5. And then we can do the same thing for this sheet. Now we will be cutting one of these, actually I think both of these down a little bit further, but I just wanted to show you, especially if you're a beginner, the initial stages of cutting for card bases to fit our medium-sized envelopes. So let's set that one aside, and now let's do the same thing, only in a different direction with this second sheet. But this time we're going to score through both of them first. So we're going to turn, we're going to have cards that open like this. They're going to be hamburger style instead of hot dog style. And so we're going to score at 4 1/4. I'm going to use my scoring blade, and I'm just pressing into the cardstock. Now I'm going to rotate in this direction. We're going to cut halfway at 5.5. And now I have 2 card bases with only 2 swipes of the blades to get 2 card bases that go in this direction. We're not going to make that trimmer go too far because we're going to need it. Now, if you're looking at the supply list already and you're watching from YouTube, you can see that I do not have a ton of extra supplies. Sorry, I'm just going to click a little button here. It always gives me a little warning. Okay, now let's start trimming these things up. Let's work on the envelopes. We're going to do the same thing to each of these envelopes. So envelopes, you can see they're connected on these edges, right? So we want to open them up, and instead of peeling back, trying to peel away here, we're just trimming. We're going to trim off 1/16 of an inch. And when I do that, you can see I can open it up right away, and we have extra cardstock ready to go. So the 1/16 of an inch, you can see there's a channel that my blade goes down into, and I'm covering up all the dark part of that channel. So it's kind of overlapping the cutting area, and that way I know that I'm just getting 1/16 of an inch. There's another one. Now we won't be using the entire 3 envelopes. There's a section, remember, that we did not use. I actually cut it down thinking I was going to use it. It's going to be a slightly larger size, but we are not going to use it. This piece here will give us a nice size insert. So we're going to go ahead now and we're going to trim. Let's trim, actually, because I'm planning for this piece to be used on another card. So let's trim that right now. I believe, let me look at that card. I want to make sure I got it right. I believe we trim it at a little over 2¼ inches. Yes, 2¼ inches. So I'm just going to trim that flap off right now like that. And then let's see, I think we should have 4 1/8. Yes, we do. Yay. So 4 1/8 brings us right inside that score line there, because if you cut right on a score line and you don't have the sharpest blade, it can cause a lot of fraying and it just gets roughed up and all that. So now we have our 4 1/8 inch wide piece here. We're going to trim off a little bit more on each of these two sides, and we're going to get a 5 3/8 size piece. And this will be a layer that's going to go inside our first card. Our first card is going to be using the blue base that comes in the kit. It's white on one side and it's blue on the other. Yes, this is a kit, Elizabeth. This is a paper pumpkin kit, the June 2023 Welcome In Kit. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to trim off 1/4 inch and another 1/4 inch, and then we're going to tear. So these two pieces will be used for another card. And this piece, we're just going to tear off, and we're going to tear as straight as we can, but we do want that roughed look, okay? We want a rough edge, but we want it to be straight as possible. All right, now we have this piece that we can toss aside. But do you see what happens there? When you use kit cards, you can get that core to show through. That is one of the benefits of all of the Stampin' Up! Kits, is we have white core paper inside those kits. Now there is a set of supplies that is currently in the annual catalog that's called white core paper. Yay, I love it, because you can get that really fun look. Now it hides when we have our card like this, right? That white edge kind of disappears. That's why we cut up the envelope. So let's take and use some extra adhesive that doesn't come in the kit. This is seal adhesive. It just makes it quicker to assemble cards when you can grab that seal adhesive and bring it in. It's one of those extra supplies that I recommend all kit creators use. Either that, or you could use like the multi-purpose liquid glue, which we're also going to pull in today if you like to use glue. Or, and this kit has it, this is one of the easiest kinds of tapes to use. This is called tear and tape adhesive, and they give you a nice small roll of that. So you could use that instead if you want to. So now we have the inside and the outside of this card. Another thing that I want to do on this card is I want to do some stamping. So let's set these pieces off to the side so they don't get inked up. And let's bring in this stamp right here. This is the background stamp that is used to decorate the vases if you make the kit as is, the kit cards as is. Instead of the small ink pad, I will be using my Night of Navy large ink pad, which is optional because you get your mini ink pad. This is just a little bit quicker. So we're going to ink up our stamp, and we're going to stamp across. Oh, see what I did already? You guys, Rachel's getting messy because she's trying to create 7 cards in one video. We can do it though. Okay, you can use grid paper, which will help you line things up so that you have, your images going across evenly, right? So I'm just going to take a ruler or a straight edge, and I think I want to go up about to that line right there. So I'm just setting that there as a guide, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp, pull that away, ink it up, stamp again, and see how you can connect, because you have a rounded side on one, and then you have the kind of like it's a, I don't know, a divot. It's great. So we can connect these together. We're gonna mess up our grid paper. I like to have my grid paper white, but that's what grid paper is for, right? So now we have our beautiful little design going across, and we're gonna use this one more time on one of the vases. So let's grab, oh, it's probably on top of my stack here. Let's grab one of these white vases, And we're going to ink up the stamp again, and this time we're going to stamp off. So stamping off removes some of the ink from your stamp. It lightens the color, and then when you stamp onto your project, and I think I want it right here, then you get a lighter version of that ink color. So now we have this beautiful lighter color navy vase. It's navy and white, and it'll pop onto our card. It'll really show off when we put it on our card. Do you see that? I'm going to zoom in just a tad here so you can see a little bit closer. Okay, so let's add this, but before we do, I decided instead of just Night of Navy cardstock and envelopes that I wanted to add one more thing to spice up these extra alternate cards. So we're bringing in the bow punch. It's one of my favorite punches because it's leaves. I love it, love it, love it. And we're going to bring in some Granny Apple green cardstock. And this will help to give us some fun foliage to our pots. Now we have a large leaf, and then we also have this small little leaf thing. It looks more like a flower. So we have all these shapes to choose from. One little hint is to take and trim up this one because it's pretty large for the vases. So you're just going to trim off one of the leaves. We'll do that again. It's going to be the bottom leaf. So you just trim that off. And now you have just a slightly shorter sprig of leaves there, right? Okay, so let's take one of those and let's set that into our pot, our decorative pot. You can see how skinny that is. So we're going to use our multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're just going to take a thin line and add that right to the pot, and just like that. And you can tilt it. I think I tilted it on my other card just for fun because, you know, pots don't stand straight up, or plants don't stand straight up all the time, right? So there's that, and then that's going to dry. We're going to bring in some adhesive from the kit because it's great. We've got these dimensionals that are little tiny short strips. So I'll grab a couple of those, stick them on the back of the pot over the top of the branch of that leaf because that'll help hold it even more. The leaves will pop up, the pot will pop up, there'll be like a shadow behind it. Watch the top and the bottom of your pot to make sure that they're parallel with the top and the bottom of your card. And then we need our stamp. And this card I thought would be totally appropriate for the invite. When you get this stamp set, it's focusing on hospitality, invitations. You can see, welcome, thank you for your hospitality, you're invited, friend. You can change that up though. You can grab other stamp sets. You could grab a stamp set like this one, which has the leaf images in it, and you can use those instead because they're kind of like an all-occasion stamp set. But for the purpose of these cards, I am going to make them with the kit sentiments. So let's open up that ink pad again, ink up the You're Invited, and stamp that right below the pot so it's centered. Then on the inside, you could write an invitation to somebody if you want them to come over for like a bonfire and s'mores at your house or a birthday party or whatever. So there's the first card, all done. All right, let's work on the second one. And I'm just gonna make sure I know what pile we're working. Okay, yes, I'm gonna keep these over to this side because we're gonna need those. Now this card, I totally could have done differently because I'm using the card base almost fully, and some of this is going to get folded back and not used at all. And you could take and cut the strips and put them onto, say, a white card base instead. And then you have a whole other panel to use on that 8th card. Remember I was saying you're going to have some extra supplies? But I wasn't thinking because I was creating as fast as I could last night. And I flipped my card over. I flipped my card over and I was like, oh no, look at that. So we're going to create a missing middle card. This one's a little bit more, what do you want to call it? A a little more advanced than the one that we just did. So we're going to cut at 7/8 of an inch. You can see that here. So we're just going in 1/8 of an inch on that side. And then we're going to cut off 2.5 inches from that middle section. And that is going to leave for us another 7/8 of an inch on this side. So we have two sections that are 7/8 of an inch. Again, you could have cut those off and added them to a white card base. So now on these two pieces, we're going to grab our blue strips that we had cut off on the first card. We're going to flip them over together. Look at how inky my hands have gotten, you guys. What the heck? Rachel's getting messy today. That's what happens when she crafts fast. Okay, so we're going to take and put our adhesive from the seal onto both pieces at the same time, because these strips are fairly skinny, and then you just peel them apart like that and you've got adhesive on both pieces. Now there's a direction to the designer paper section of the card. You can see there's little foxes in there, right? So we want to make sure that we don't have upside down animals. We're going to add this strip right flush with that edge. Okay, so it's lined up with that edge. And then the same thing on this side, and we'll just lay it flat here, lining that up with that edge. So now we've got this nice blue border on each side. All right, we were just talking about this the other day. My friend Luann was over here, and we were talking about how multi-purpose liquid glue can become a temporary adhesive. So I'm going to show you just by putting a couple little dots here. Those might be a little bigger than I want. Let me show you how big they are. Okay, so you can see tiny little dots. There's one there, and one there. And now I'm going to stick this down like that. And we're going to work fast. Now, normally I would let that dry. And then I would stick it down, but we're going to work fast. This piece is now going to get added here. So this is a nice large piece. We're going to add seal adhesive here and seal adhesive here because there is plenty of room for both of them. We're going to center it, top to bottom, side to side, and then we're going to peel this away. You can hear it. It wanted to cling, but it did not. And then you can take an adhesive eraser that you can get at the dollar store or whatever, and you can come in and you can remove those little sticky spots. Look at my blue fingers, you guys. That's funny. So funny. They were clean before we started. I cleaned them and I put on lotion because the older you get, the more your hands look wrinkled. So lotion helps, right? Okay, there's the front of our card. Now we're going to use this frame piece, and I was going to use this in a different way. So if you want to, you could absolutely eliminate this piece and add it to that 8th card that I keep talking about. But we're just going to go slowly around and add this flat. On the original kit card, you add this with the dimensional pieces, and how fun is that? But we're going to have something else in the middle of this card popped up on dimensionals, and there. It's a lot quicker with just a little thing of glue all the way around, and it still has a slight dimension to it because you can see the layer there. All right, so next we need a pot. We need another one of those white pots, but this time we're going to use this stamp in the kit. So it has this vase. Now the vase is larger. Sorry, my vocal cords. See, the vase is larger, the vase image is larger than the actual piece that's in the kit to stamp on. And with the dark color, it's really, really hard to get right on top of your vase. So I'm going to show you what I did, and we might get messy hands again. So we're going to take and ink up our stamp, and we're going to flip it over, and we're going to lay it down. This part is not the messy part. Okay, so now it's on there. Again, let's just close this for now, get it out of the way. We don't want to get ink on our hands any more than we do. Oh my goodness, Rachel. All right, so that's on there. You can use like a scrap piece of paper. We'll just grab this little note here, and you can take and rub, put some extra pressure on there, or you can take and flip it over because it's stuck to it really well, and you can press it down. That's what I did for my first card. And then the trick is getting it off without getting your fingers all inky. So let's just take and grab something pokey, like our scissors. Oh, and then I pressed it down again. Oh, and then I pressed it down again. Okay, there we go. I got it. I got it. It's good enough. It's good enough. Let's just keep moving. You'll see photographs of the original cards, which are very nice and neat. This one may not be as nice and neat. You can see the ink didn't get on there fully. I probably should have inked it up a little bit more, but it's still beautiful. In fact, ooh, I just thought of something. It looks as if the light is shining more on this side of the vase than this side because this side's slightly darker. I did it on purpose. Now we're going to grab a couple of these strip dimensionals again, stick them on the back side, spread out a little bit, peel off the backings or the release paper, and then we'll just set that right underneath this vase. Now, I do want to point out that there is this green one here. Do you see this one? We want that to look like that's in the vase too. So when you put it down on there, don't have that little guy floating. Go up high enough to grab him. And I think there's one other, yes, I put a stamp on the inside of this one. So let's open it up, open up the ink pad and grab our largest sentiment that says, "Thank you for your hospitality." So if you're staying at someone's house, or maybe they've, I don't know, had you come out with them on a fun excursion one day on their boat or something, you can give them a card that says something like that. Now this is the original. You can see it's a little bit deeper and darker because I stamped a little bit nicer and neater. But same card, right? So there's that one. Card number 2. Card number 3. Card number 3 is going to use one of these long card bases. So now we're actually going to dive into those card bases that we had pre-cut. And this one is going to get cut down a little bit. We're going to cut off half of the front. So if this is 5.5 inches, we're going to cut off 2 3/4 inches. That is the halfway mark. Just like that. And then this piece is going to get rotated and added here. Now I want to show you the card that I recently got in a swap from Jenny Reeder, a gal who is a demonstrator in our group. This is her creative card, and she did the same thing. That's how she got that layout. She took the piece that was cut off here and put it here. So thank you, Jenny, for reminding me of that fun way of creating a unique card base. So we're going to cut it and turn it. This one we're going to cut down just a little bit more though, but it fits perfectly with this piece in our kit. So we're going to grab this one now and we are going to cut it. Oh, I lied to you guys. I thought that this was an extra. Oh, no, never mind. That was an extra one. We're good. We're good. Okay, so we're going to take this one and we're going to cut it so that it fits inside our 2 3/4 inch section here. So if this is 2 3/4 in this direction, then we want to cut to get 1/8 of an inch on the top and the bottom. We want to cut this to 2.5 inches. And it will include the flowers and a little bit of room under it. And that's a good thing because we're going to add a sentiment piece. So save that. We're going to add a sentiment piece to the bottom of this. So let's go ahead and add this now to this piece with 1/8 of an inch border on the 3 sides. And then we're going to trim on this side. And you can eyeball it, which is what I actually recommend because this piece here is not a nice even measurement. So just eyeball it and trim, and then take your paper snips and angle cut here and here. And again, eyeballing. Okay, So we have that done. These are scraps now. And there's our layer, cut from that extra piece that we had. And then do you remember this that we had cut out from our second card? We're going to trim this to 4 inches. And again, you want to look at the direction of your animals. And we want to make sure that we get those animals going in the right direction, right? So there we go. And we're going to adhere this to this side panel right here. And if I open this up, you might be able to see even better. So that also has an 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And if that does, and this does, and we're going to adhere this now, we're just going to put adhesive on half of it. Okay. I'm going to just put adhesive on half of it. In fact, it might help if I have, there we go. Now it's all lined up. So we have adhesive on half of it. It's not showing on the other half. And then if we have an 1/8 of an inch border on all of these, then we want to have an 1/8 of an inch border from one of our cut envelopes on the inside. So this is where we bring in an envelope again, and we want this inside piece. So we're going to cut just inside the score line here, and we're going to cut to 4 inches. In fact, you know what? We need another one of these. So let's just do this right now. We said what? Just over 2 1/4. Okay. There's our piece, just over 2 1/4. Okay, now we can cut this down. We need that for another card if you missed that part. If you came in a little late and missed that, we need that for another card. Now we need, so this is 4 inches, so now we need 5 1/4. And that will bring it just inside. Trim off that rough edge, turn it over here. Looking at this side, we're going to go to 5 1/4. And that will give us a nice layer for the inside of this card. So let's take these scraps, put that aside. We'll put these back over here because we may need them. All right, so here we go. Let's take and put this on the inside. And lay that so that we have an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Okay, almost done with this. We have one more piece to put on. And let's weed through all of our stuff and find this. So this is an extra sentiment piece that comes with your kit. So you've got your Hello Friend card now. And that just gets set right underneath the flowers like so. Super easy, right? Yay, Jenny, I see you on there, yes. Thank you for your inspiration. All right, we're going to move on to the 4th card. The 4th card is where we need this piece and where we need this piece. And then we also need that 3rd envelope because we need another large section. We don't have to worry too much about the flap and how far away it is from our cutting, so we'll just remove that for now. We're going to turn this around and we're going to cut to, hang on a minute. We're going to cut to 4 1/8. We're going to 4 1/8 inch. Okay, keep that over there. And so that means we want a little bit larger of a section over here too. So we're cutting to 5 3/8. We want a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. This is for the inside of our card, so it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Then these two pieces that have this nice wider border on here, we'll just stack them together because they're thin enough to cut at the same time. We're going to cut these to just under 2 inches, just under 2 inches. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm going to the 1 7/8 inch mark, and I'm making sure that the edge of my envelope is parallel with the edge of this 2 inch line here. And we're going to press it down and cut. That will straighten out that edge. And then this section here should be, and I'm just going to measure it, yes, it's 5 1/4 inches. So if you go right to that corner here and cut, and then you go right to that corner, it should give you a 5¼ inch layer. There we go. So we have some rectangle pieces. Now I thought that they looked kind of like doors, right? So we're going to put little doorknobs here, and this piece actually could have gotten cut down a little bit lower, but I think I had that size on the original card, so we're going to go with it. For that card, we need one of these card bases, and I actually did some scoring wrong. So pretend like you didn't cut anything yet. For this card base, see, that's the beauty of the lives, you guys. The beauty of the lives is that Rachel makes mistakes. For this card base, we actually did not want to pre-score. We did not. We wanted our half a sheet of cardstock as is, and now we're going to score at 2 1/8 inches. We're going to fold that in, and then we're going to take our other side and we're going to bring it to meet up with this center spot. We're going to press it down and use our bone folder to crease the other side. It's a gatefold card. All right, so sorry about that. Oh my goodness sakes. All right, next, we're gonna stamp on this piece. We're gonna do some artsy stuff with the stamps. And Rachel tends to focus on the papers so much, which is crazy because her name is Stamp Your Art Out, that I thought, I need to get some stamps in this card. So we're gonna go ahead and use this stamp again, and we're gonna ink it up, and we're gonna set it about 2 inches from the bottom of the inside piece here, making sure everything's parallel and nice and neat. And you know what? I wonder, because I was stamping on a different surface earlier. So let's just bring in our Stampin' Pierce mat, which I did not list in the supplies, but you can look it up. It's awesome. It gives a little bit of a cushion, and it might give us a better image on our vase, you guys. Okay, now I'm going to stamp about 2 inches up from the bottom, centered and nice and even. And I'm going to press evenly and lift it up. Oh, that's so beautiful. And now I'm going to grab the flower. We have a flower that comes in this kit, and there's a stem too. Like if you wanted to use that stem, you could. I did not on my original, so I stamped a middle flower, and I'm making sure I'm doing this right by looking at my other one. And then I stamped a couple that were kind of going off the edge with a little bit of space. And then I stamped a couple more kind of coming through the middle like this. And then I stamped, I think, yep, they're all kind of horizontal and stacked. That looks really even. So maybe I would have come in here and done a little bit more, I don't know. It's pretty. We're going to go with it, right? I wish they had had a tinier little one. So maybe you want to draw little tiny flowers in there. That was my temptation, but I thought, no, because that's another supply. But yes, we do have Night of Navy markers. So you could take a Night of Navy marker and draw in just a couple little hand-drawn tiny flowers in there. Oh, we need this still because we're going to do one more stamp on the inside here. This is our inside layer. We're going to stamp our welcome. So this is a nice card to give to somebody who's coming to an event, or who has joined a team, or who has come to your house to stay. There's all kinds of reasons you could make a welcome card, right? Let's flip it over, grab our seal, and add little strips along the 4 corners. Open up our gatefold card base, and we're just going to line that up so it has a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. And again, this could be trimmed shorter because these panels are going to have an 1/8 of an inch. Again, I was rushing to create, but that's what happens. All right, so now we've got our doors. We've got a door on this side, and I'm going to open it this way so I can see it better. A door on this side with an 1/8 of an inch all the way around, and a door on this side. And isn't that appropriate for a welcome card to make a door that opens? Thank you, Lisa, for the reminder. Yes, I will have this blog post live at 4 p.m. Central Time today. I still have to photograph some of the cards, but you can click on the link, and on YouTube, the link is there. On Facebook, it will get transferred right after the live is done. Here it is. This is what I'm looking for. And you'll be able to click on that link. If you are not a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, I invite you to try it out. If you did not get this kit or you used it all up, you can still apply these ideas, hopefully, creative ideas, to other things that you're making. So there's our little cutesy door. And then when you open it up, there's the welcome. So that's our gatefold card. That was number 4. Okay, we're moving on to card number 5. And this one was actually the first card I created when I was designing all of these. And I love it. I love, love, love it. We're going to use this piece here, and we're going to cut it in a special spot just inside these 2 corners. So you see a corner here, a corner here. We're going to cut it so that it's right at the, I believe it was the, yes, 7/8 of an inch mark. So if you're looking on your trimmer, it's 7/8 of an inch in that direction. So hold it down, slice through it, and now you've got 2 separate pieces. We're also going to grab this piece, which I added later. Remember, I told you this was one of my favorite cards, so you remember this piece. When I first designed this, water break time. When I first designed this, I had a larger gap in the middle, but we're going to put this piece in here, and I'm just going to make sure, I'm going to measure something here off to the side. Sorry. Oh, 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to cut a 3/4 of an inch piece, and that's going to fill in the gap. So you have like that piece left over for another card design because we'll never use that one. And this one we're flipping over and we're using the white. So we need that, and we need one of our navy bases, which means we need an inside layer because our navy base is hard to write on unless you have like a white gel pen or something, right? So we're going to take one of our envelopes and we're going to trim it. And we're going to trim it, so I'm just going to straighten this out here. We're going to trim off 1/2 of an inch on this side, and that'll help separate these little pieces here. And then we're going to trim it to, and I think, yes, so I did 4.5 inches. I flip it over because then I can put the straight edge up to the top here, but you don't have to if you don't want to. We're going to trim off that scored section. So just go right inside there, and now the scored section's gone. And if we went to 4.5 inches in this direction, 4.5 to 5.5 is an inch difference. And we want to go an inch difference then in this direction. So 4.25 would move us to 3.25 inches. So we're going to do 3.25 on this side. And this will be our inside white layer, and it will set evenly inside of our card. Another piece that we need for this is the beautiful navy vase. And again, I thought it was missing something, so we're going to add this fun little flowery piece. We're also going to take and use this light blue. Sorry, it's not grabbing onto my fingers. This light blue piece here, and we're going to trim it in half. So it doesn't even have to be evenly in half. You can just eyeball that and cut it in half so you have 2 pieces. Okay, one for the inside, one for the outside. Oh, that definitely was not in half. That's okay, it doesn't matter. So this one we're going to stamp first. And to do that, we need to clean off this stamp that says thank you for your hospitality. So I'm going to grab my cleanup pad. And if you don't have the Stampin' Scrub and the mist, that's what I'm using, by the way. You could use like a baby wipe or a wet washcloth or something, but you want something to clean and dry your stamp with, and then you're going to press it down a bunch of times to make sure there's no ink on there and no fuzzies. You want a nice clean stamp. Okay, that one's ready to go. And we're going to mask it. So you'll see tape for masking is listed in the supplies. I'm just using Scotch tape. Use any kind of tape, like a washi tape or whatever, but you want to make sure that your hospitality is not going to get inked up. So I've just put tape over the top of those words. Now it will just ink up the thank you and the for. Now if you want to, you can also mask the for, but I'm going to just show you how to eliminate inking it up. You use the corner of your ink pad, and you can do this with a spot too, an ink spot, those little mini ink pads, but you just ink up what you want, and then you peel off this tape, and I did get some ink on there. You can see there's a little bit of, oh, you see it? Put it too high on my grid paper. There's a little bit of blue on there. So good thing we masked. And this is going to get stamped about halfway on this piece. So now we have our thank you. And then on this piece, we're going to stamp the word friend, because you get that word in the kit too. So thank you, and that's going to go more towards the end. Friend. Thank you, friend. I probably should have masked my thank you for, because I did get a couple dots on this card. But again, these are my quick cards, you guys. Photographs will be better on the blog post, and you're getting the idea of it. Let's start assembling. This is going to go on the inside, so let's flip that over, and we want white showing on the inside. And I'm choosing white because this color here, this blue, really is not in any of the other colors we're using. So we're going to use the white side for the inside of our card. Lovely! Then we're going to put these two pieces onto our card eventually. So one of them now. So let's put them together because they are thin again, right? So we want to put them side by side and put the adhesive on both at the same time. And we want the one that says friend. Oh, I even tilted that one. Rachel's stamping sloppy today. We're going to stick this one anywhere you want. I chose to put mine a little higher just so that there was room to write something inside the card. And now on the front of our card, and let's just flip that over so it doesn't stick anywhere. On the front of our card, we want to center these pieces here, top to bottom, and then we want it flush with the side. So I'm just going to feel with my fingers to make sure that that piece is not going over the edge, and it's looking even top to bottom. And that's where I want that one. The same thing with this one now. By the way, in the US, these kits are $23.50 per month. There's a little bit of tax depending on your area. In Canada, they're priced differently. I don't have that price memorized. But those are the two places where you can get these paper pumpkin kits. Once in a blue moon, Stampin' Up! Will put one of the kits in the online store of the other markets, but it's rare. But we do have the kits collection too. So if you're a kit lover, you can try the kits collection, which is in all of the Stampin' Up! Markets. So now we've got that on there. And then I thought this gap was kind of big, so that's why I filled it in with this. And that kind of connects the two pieces. And it just gives a fun little look to the front of the card. So let's grab our vase and figure out where that's going to sit. And because we're going to have some greenery coming out of the top, we can't have it too high. And we'll take and we'll tuck this right now under the vase. My goodness, that is a crooked thank you. Shh, don't tell anyone I did that. Okay, let's do the same thing we did with the other vase, where we put a little bit of glue right on the front of the stem of this extra piece here. I'm going to have them tilted off to the left as if they're kind of, I don't know, there's not a lot in there, so they're going to tilt to one side or the other, right? And then on the back side, we'll use our dimensionals again that come in the kit, the dimensional strips. You do have longer ones, which you can cut in half too, but I just keep on grabbing these, and we'll put one towards the top, overlapping the stem, one towards the bottom, peel off the backing, and this is where we also need to use up some of our dot embellishments. Looking at the top and the bottom of the vase, I'm making sure that everything looks parallel to the top and the bottom of my card. And then I'm going to come in with these fun little dots and just lay them down carefully. Now, if you don't have fingernails like I do, I have thin fingernails because they don't have polish on them. Oops. If you have that, then you can go ahead and do what I'm doing. If you don't, you can grab the take your pick tool, which might help. I'm just going to loosen it a little bit though, and push and set it down like this. In fact, let's just try that for the next few. Let's see if we can do that. Push. There we go. Let's just do that. I was sitting on the couch. I didn't have all my tools in front of me last night, and I was using my fingernails. So I didn't list this one either. I might have to revise my product list. But that is that finished card. Isn't that funny? It does look like a bow tie, Bonnie. You're right. I love that. Yeah, it's kind of fun look. All right, almost like a buckle between, I don't know. Anyways, all right, next card. The next card is number 6. We are cruising along, you guys. Things are falling over on my desktop, so I know we're doing great. Okay, let's move these aside and let's pull in. These are the pieces we have left right now. We have this base piece. Oops, we have this base piece. We have some inside envelope pieces. We have that. We have another inside envelope piece. Oh, there we have a vase, a couple vases. This strip, here's a blank vase. Here's that label. Let's take this one now, and we're going to trim 2 inches from the top. This is another card. Oh yeah, and check your direction because your flowers are going to want to go up. This is another one of those cards where afterwards I said to myself, the back side would have been pretty on another card, so really you could keep going. You could keep on making things. So we could have brought in white cardstock and done the same thing. But I'm going to show you this fun trick for doing just a different kind of card opening. You may already be familiar with it, but let's have fun with it anyways. Let's cut off 2 inches from the top, and I want to make sure I'm right. I have not memorized all my measurements. Yes, 2 inches. I guess I have memorized them all. So we're going to go to this score line right here. There's a score line, and we're going to pop our cutting blade right on top of that score line, and we're going to push this way. This is the front, this is the back of the card. Now we're going to turn in this direction. We're going to cut along the score line. Having a good sharp blade is a good idea here. We're going to put our blade right at that spot or around it, and we're going to cut. And if you have them still attached, you can take your paper snips and you can go in and just cut that little corner. All right, this piece is going to be saved for another card. This is our base piece. We're going to bring in this one here, and we're going to attach it with some glue. You could use the seal adhesive, but the glue allows us to get a little bit more above this edge here, okay? So when you stick it down, be careful not to get adhesive outside. And now we have it centered, side to side. Got a little bit of a border showing on top. And we've adhered about 1/4 inch, okay? So there's that piece. Next we're going to take and we're going to trim this. We're going to trim it to 4 inches in this direction. So we're taking this long banner strip and we're putting the pointed end here to the 4-inch mark and cutting. We're going to put these back together in a look like a buckle. And we're going to start with this one, and that's going to go right here. In fact, let's put it over a dark piece of cardstock so you can see where I'm lining it up. So I'm lining up one of the corners with that corner, and we're adding it like so. This one, we're going to take and just run the bone folder a little bit just to have it curl up just slightly, okay? And now we'll add adhesive, not all the way to the end, but just where it starts to curve. And that's going to get added right here. And it's going to line up with this edge, and it's going to connect with this piece. So now it looks like a belt or a buckle, right? And it's going to look even more like one when we add those last couple. Where did they go? I might have to add them later because, oh, here they are. Remember I told you we're going to use half of those because I already used another bunch on another card. So there's that, and let's use this tool, push, lift, and put it down. There. Now it looks like a buckle. And I got stickies here. Where did that? There it is. Grab our adhesive eraser. Okay. So what are we going to put here? We're going to put a focal point. So I thought it'd be fun to bring in one of these pretty vases from the kit. And we also need a sentiment that's going to go here. And I'm choosing not to use the yellow because I see no other yellow on the card. So I'm flipping it over and I'm going to use it like that. And we're going to stamp that "Thanks for your hospitality" again. And remember, if you're joining a little late, you can use any other stamp sets with sentiments if you don't want to have your stamp or your cards say "Welcome, friend, thanks for your hospitality." Maybe you want them to say, sending hugs, thinking of you, thank you, hello, something like that. So the Layering Leaves set is a perfect set for adding to your kit cards. Let's put this over the top of a dark piece of cardstock again so that we can center it. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes. All right, and then we're going to stamp that right into that spot like that. And move this aside for our last card. Okay, now we want some greenery again. So I'm going to punch with that coordinating punch that goes with the stamp set I just showed you. I'm going to punch another one of those little guys out. And we're going to connect it with this vase like so. So let's take and grab our multi-purpose. Just put a little bit there on the stem. Grab it onto the vase. It almost looks like a succulent on this one for some reason. I don't know why. All right, and then flip it over. Grab our dimensionals from the kit. Split them into two. Have one go across the stems. One go a little bit further away. They do not have to be evenly spaced. If this is bugging you, you can definitely, invest in our regular dimensionals that are hexagon shape. Then this is just going to go like this, centered right in that little frame here. And then this piece is going to be added with a couple more dimensional strips right underneath. Like that. Oops. They're stretchy. And that's going to get set right under here, centered in that spot. So pretty, right? I don't think I have anything on the inside of my finished one, or my first one, I should say. Nope. But you can put something on the inside if you want. Thank you for your hospitality. Thank you so much, or thinking of you, or sending hugs. So there's the 6th card. And then the last one is going to be using this card base. And I think, I'm trying to remember here. Yep, we eliminate that one, but you could use that on another card. We're going to use this one. We're going to use one of those. And we're going to use that pot and a leaf. So these are the things that you end up not using that you can totally use on an 8th card if you wish. Let's fold this and cut it, and we're going to cut it, and I need to measure off to the side if I can find my ruler. Let's cut it to 2.5 inches. By the way, this kit also coordinates with, so I want this to be 2.5 inches here, which means this is going to be 3 inches that I cut off. 5.5 take away 2.5 is 3, right? Yes. Okay, so we're cutting that off. Hey, that could be used on a 8th card too. All right, so there's that. And you know what? We do use that other strip. Sorry. Bring this back in. We're going to cut that to 4 1/8. I lied. I lied. This was the 7th card I created, you guys. And I was so like tired. It was 9 o'clock at night, and I'm like, oh, I know I can get one more card out of this. So okay, so that one's gonna be 4 and what did I say? 4 and 1/8 in this direction, and then whatever this was, 2. So now this is 4 1/4 because we just cut it off of our card base. So we're gonna make that 2 and 1/8. And these two are gonna layer together on the front of our card. It's all coming back. And it was just last night, Rachel. Oh my goodness. Okay, so these two are gonna layer together like that. We can actually attach them. You'd think, oh no, she's covering up that beautiful design, but it's gonna lay this way on my card, and the flowers are going sideways anyways. Plus we just needed a nice white background. You could use your envelope, I suppose, because there is another envelope. That vase is going to go on there. This is going to be an inside layer, but it's cut differently because it's going to go like this. So we're going to cut it to 4 1/8 inches wide. So we're going to trim off about, let's see here, let's measure how big it is. It is 5 5/8 inches. If we want to go to 4 1/8, then we have 1 inch and I believe 1.5 inches. Yes, we have 1.5 inches to cut off altogether. 1.5 inches cut off altogether means we need 3. Let me do that again. I want to make sure I'm doing that right. 4 1/8 to that, to that. Yes, we need 3/8 inches off of each side. That's right. That's right, Rachel. 3/8. That way, our little rounded part, which we're going to keep on the card, is going to stay even. So 3/8 on this side should bring us, and it does, to 4 1/8. Yay! I love math. Okay, let's trim off that scored area. And it doesn't matter, you know, if you score in a 1/16 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, it's okay. We just need a fun rounded look there, and that's going to go on the inside of our card, so we'll add that now. We want to see the blue side because we are going to see the same blue color on the top of our card. So now we have this piece, and this piece we want to keep rounded as well. We want that rounded look because we're going to carry it over to the inside of the card. So on this one, we want to cut that also to 4 1/8 inches wide. So when we bring in our trimmer, let's do our math again. From here to here, we have the same amount. Yay! So let's trim off 3/4 of an inch on that side and 3/4 of an inch on this side. And there we brought it to 4 1/8. Oh, yay. Sometimes during lives, things don't work out like that, but it did, and I'm so happy. All right, so this is going to go here, and it's okay that it's not reaching all the way to the top. It just has that fun rounded look. This is going to get added now in this spot, so we just want adhesive at the top of that piece and right here in the middle. That's the best way, I think, to add the adhesive on this one, because it's not really like halfway on the back of this layer. It's harder to measure. I'm looking at the very top of my card and the very bottom of my card, and I'm centering it between those two spots and side to side. And now we have our fun card that opens this way. Oh yes, I do need the ink pad one more time. For this card, there is another thank you, and this time we're going to mask it better. We're going to mask it better, you guys. Ready for this? Let's just do it. Let's just mask both sides. Rachel should have done that in the beginning. Okay, spray it with the cleaning mist. We're going to clean it off, dry it off, stamp it a few times, and it's clean. Now let's mask it. We're going to mask it here, so that the hospitality, your hospitality, is covered up. And we're also going to mask the 4 There. Now Rachel won't mess up. Before we do that, let's take our pot and add some leaves. We need one more punched out set of leaves. This time we'll punch from the bottom portion of the punch. If you have a strip that is 1 1/4 inches tall, it's perfect for this punch to just punch one or the other. Oh, I did have one. There it is. That's the one we want, remember, because we cut off that last leaf. So this one's ready to go. It's going to go into our pot. And so let's add our multi-purpose liquid glue. I'm going to cut off a little bit of this stem because I don't need it that long, or I don't want it that long. Okay, and then this is going to get into our pot, tilted just slightly, like that. I suppose we could have kept the stem, that's okay. Let's put a couple of these across the back. One here, and one here. And, before we stick this on, we have to stamp, because the stamp is going to be really close to our pot, and our pot is going to be lifted up onto dimensionals. So when you're stamping, if you have a stamped image right next to a dimensional area, you could accidentally get some ink from around the edges of your clear block on it. So we just kind of want to lay this here where we think it's going to go. And we need to make sure it's staying down flat. Let's use our bone folder. Give it a good crease. That helped. That helped. There you go. Okay, let's ink up this stamp. Ink it, ink it, ink it. And we don't have to worry about all the other areas around it because we masked it all. And then we peel this off and try not to touch it because it'll get ink all over your fingers. And now that's going to get stuck down right about there. About an inch from the bottom, and yes indeed, Rachel got a little smudge there. Maybe we'll put an embellishment there. A little rhinestone or something. We're going fast. We're making 7 cards in this video, you guys, and it's live. No pre-recorded here. So, sorry about the little errors here and there. Come on out of there. That's what happens during a live, is you have mistakes. No matter if you're doing 1 card or 7. There's that. It's such a sweet little thank you card. I am loving that. I'm going to actually peel up this grid paper because I want to show you all the cards. Some things I want to mention. Let's see here. I talked about the price, $23.50 plus tax per month in the U.S. You have the opportunity to cancel anytime. You don't have to stay committed to these kits. They come straight to your mailbox. You get everything you need if you want to make the kit cards as is. Sorry, just tidying here. And what else do I want to say? Oh, coordinating products. Let's show those really quick. You can get coordinating products to go with these kits. Right now, and it's still in the online store, there are these dies that are called Welcome In dies. They're made just for Paper Pumpkin Kit subscribers, so you have to be subscribed. You have to have an active subscription. But you can go into the online store and you can purchase past Paper Pumpkin kits that are available. You can purchase these dies. Look at that. You can cut out more vases. You can cut out some greenery. These, of course, require a stamp and cut and emboss machine. You can get the mini or the maxi or whatever. This cuts out that flower image from the kit. So fun stuff if you want to get your hands on that. I'm going to show you how to find that, if you don't mind. Let me set up my computer so that you don't see other things all the way around it, because it's messy. All right, let's bring you over to the computer screen. And I'll show you how to get to that stuff. So when you're in the online store, you can go under menu and you can go to shop products and you can go to Kits Paper Pumpkin. And then here's where you can find it. Refills, past kits, and more, like the add-on type things like that. You can also purchase prepaid subscriptions. You can learn about the monthly subscriptions, coordinating products, that kind of thing. But let's click on refills, And there are the dies right there. These are for people who have active subscriptions. So you have to have an activated subscription in order to get past kit refills, all that stuff. All right, let's go back to the desktop and let's lay out all these fun cards. We have made 7 today. And of course, I've told you throughout the video, you can make even more, right? So let's try to keep this one flat. It's not going to lay flat. That's okay. Let's do our horizontal cards across the bottom and our vertical across the top. We need to zoom out a bit. Way too close, Rachel. Hang on. Okay, can we see them all? I think so. Let's put one of these along the bottom here because my face is in the way. And there's this one. Did you notice I was wearing my coordinating color today? This is my coral. Oh gosh, Rachel. The coral color. You know what one it is. It's one in the kit. Let's see if they list it. There it is. Calypso Coral. I was wearing my Calypso Coral today. So these are the 7 cards we made with the supplies of 3 kit cards. If you wanted to do more of these, you're going to have 2 other sets of 3 supplies, right? So you can get literally 21 cards from this kit. I have other project ideas that I'm planning for this kit. There's a blog post that will be a blog hop later on into July. And then, oh gosh, what else? Alternate exclusives for my subscribers. So if you're a subscriber through me and you got this kit, you're going to get your exclusives sent to you. Let me just go to my blog really quick. And I'm going to show you how to learn more from my website, which is stampyourartout.com. So when you're on my, when you're on my website at stampyourartout.com, there's a whole tab, a menu under Paper Pumpkin. That's how much I love this stuff. I'm a Paper Pumpkin fanatic. You can learn learn more information about it. You can order prepaid subscriptions, which is something that's different, but it's really cool. You can see my recent Paper Pumpkin posts, older ones. These are Paper Pumpkin things that I'm pinning on Pinterest, and then stamp set case inserts in case you want to turn all of your stamp sets into their own individual cases on your shelf. So lots of fun stuff there. I recommend going there to learn lots because that's where I share it all. I feel like I'm missing something. The next kit, by the way, is going to be the July kit, and it's called Fun in the Sun. Here's a little flyer for it. It just kind of gives you hints. These things are surprises. We don't know what's coming in the kit. So I challenge you to just take a chance and subscribe and check it out. This one looks like a really fun one, right? And then on the back side of this flyer, it just talks about the coordinating products. That's what I was forgetting. There's also a whole suite in the annual catalog that's called the Countryside Inn Suite. And that is located in the catalog, if you have the catalog, on pages 62 and 63. Otherwise, you can go to the online store and just search for that suite. This is the Countryside Inn Suite. Lots of coordinating products, a stamp set of dies, an embossing folder. Very fun stuff. Oh, and designer paper, of course. So you can just keep on going if you like this stuff. I think that's it. So, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here then, I think. I'm looking at my notes to see if I forgot anything. My next live will be Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. During Wednesday lives, I typically will demonstrate all kinds of Stampin' Up! Products. Sometimes I've thrown in the Paper Pumpkin kits. Sometimes I throw in our Kits Collection kits. But I play around with all of it. I love it all. I hope that you join me on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Central Time. Next one is going to be June 28th. And thank you for watching. It builds creativity to think outside the box. Be sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel so that you can catch more paper pumpkin videos, that you can catch videos that I share with other products. Be sure that you're subscribed to my website at stampyourartout.com so that you don't miss anything there either. And again, at 4:00 p.m. Central Time today is when the photos and all the stuff related to this will go live on my blog. I think that's all I need to share. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video tutorial. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye, everyone.